in her spaces, she can be really strong. She deals a bunch of burst damage, like was being said on the desk as well. She can be a really strong peel component. She can be a very strong dive component. Very, very flexible, it seems like, this champion. I haven't actually been able to watch any pro play Vex yet. I'm sure there probably has been, between the Martia Cup and the other couple of off-season.
I'm not sure she was enabled, actually. I can't remember.
You know what? I'm not too sure either. Maybe she wasn't. We'll have to see. As a ward is cleared in the bottom side by X7, so they will deny that away from nukes. And yeah, I think, honestly, I will say, in general, I think this might be my matchup of the day. Maybe even potentially the week, because I'm a little bit of a. I really like Riddle. I think historically they've been a very, very fun team to watch, and I think the fact that they've also retained their top side in Slow Q, MC, and Kex is also a pretty big benefit, not only to the org, but I think also just as a viewing experience. These guys really do love to test the limits when they are ready, and I think chucking them in game 1 versus X7, this roster that is so hyped up, both by us on air and then of course in the community. This is the kind of game where they will come in the underdogs and just happily play the game out and just win. That is the kind of team that Riddle are, this top side specifically. So I'm very, very, very excited to see these guys, effectively have their mettle tested by what is considered the strongest roster in the league.
It's an interesting matchup because, like you said, we there's a lot of big players here on Riddle, players that we've had in the scene for a little bit, and Riddle have always been a fun team, but X7 are a team who everybody has been hyping up as probably one of the best, if not one of the best team in the league right now, and it's really on them to actually just put on a pretty convincing performance here to prove us right, because there are still 2 academy teams in our league. We might have lost Fnatic, but we have Astralis, we have XL. So it's really, on X7 to show us.
Yeah, and that's the thing, right? XL,
as hyped as
XL aren't the summer XL. Yeah, exactly. XL aren't the summer XL that we saw, after we saw the departure of Marcoon and Advian. This is going to be a revamped, fresh version of the team.
Yeah.
So, they are going to be a threat, being able to, practice together, scrim together. The issue with that roster swap mid split, of course, is it just sort of shakes up the way that systems may work. Ignore all of the summoners disconnected, of course.
Yeah, they're still here,
Yes, obviously there must have been a pause. Players must have had to reconnect and disconnected, but was resolved fast enough that we don't have to pause on air, which is very nice. So yes, exciting matchup all around. I think from top to bottom here. I think for the Riddle players, looking at it, if you're a Riddle supporter, you're curiously excited to see whether these guys can sort of live up to the same level of hype that Riddle started towards the end of summer, of course, with the new bot lane as well, between Faith Can and Nukes. And for X7, if you're rooting for X7, it's just about setting the record straight and letting everybody know what you're about.
Yes, absolutely. It's one of the things we have to keep in mind about this new bot lane as well is I don't think we're going to see much out of them for a little while. Double Enchanter scaling AD carry bot lane probably means a lot of the action is going to be happening away, especially when teleports, you can't really just teleport down into bot lane as easily as you used to be able to, thanks to the teleport changes. So I think it's probably going to be fairly quiet down there. And I think both the bot laners are going to be happy with that. I think these AD carries just want to farm up as much as possible. Faithkin has actually been able to pick up a slight lead over Nata. Just to deny them a little bit, and it's not really too much they're going to be able to do about that. Just catch underneath the waves and hope for the best. Yeah,
exactly. Karma definitely will be taking priority. Almost alone, to be honest with you, but I think as well, when you just take into consideration the Jinx Rockets, it does feel like the Riddle bot lane almost on command can take lane priority when they want and have first move to anything that MC may be calling to. Or just thinking for a lane swap towards the herald timings, etc. You get idea. As very irritating. Stop. I'm pretty sure Nukes is fine. I'm pretty sure it's alright. Don't worry. Cooldowns meant that Kasing unfortunately wouldn't have been able to have flashed in and found first blood. It would have been a pretty comical way to make your return to the NLC.
They did bring the pony down just to make sure that this wave did crash and there wasn't going to be any tomfoolery to stop them from resetting. It's been a real nuisance here. If you haven't seen Vex, where have you been? She's been out for a while, but the fear on her does last fairly healthy amount of time, to be honest.
Yeah, I can't remember the numbers. I want to say it scales from like a 3/4 of a second upwards to maybe like a second and a half or a second and a quarter, something like that. It could just be somewhere central to that. I haven't specifically looked at the numbers for the fear duration, unfortunately, but either way, it's a very annoying mechanic. Fear, you can only really cleanse out of it, or QSS.
Yeah.
Other than that, you will be pretty much stuck in place, running in a direction. And it can be very, very easy to set up, especially when you get those resets of the ultimate. Tempt on this Vex in the team file. Speaking of level 6s.
Got that Shadow Surge, did connect it onto slow Q, but not going to throw it down yet. Nukes being there meant that was not a fight worth taking, especially when you didn't actually have any mana, so you can get the shield up. As Jaeger has got a couple of people hanging about. The Haru is in his pocket to make sure that not going to get into too much trouble here.
Exactly that, and that's what this Gwen lane is definitely here to do, not get into trouble. Scale up, be a side lane menace, and then if you do get called down towards these team fights, be a backline threat, be a nuisance, be something that really disrupts slow Q and Faithcon from actually participating in these team fights properly. And not only that, being able to burn through the front line as well with all that true damage is going to be a big benefit to X7.
Well, see, grab number 2 is going to get secured by MC. But definitely a slower start again. Just like our previous game, we did somewhat expect this just from the champ select, but Xing now going to get tethered up by nukes. Not going to fully connect it as the gravitum, sorry, from Nata will stop Faithcon from chasing any further up.
Yep. Nice little bit of dissuasion there, but yeah, again, like you say, symptom of the drafts, right? I just feel like neither of these teams are necessarily going to want to scrap it out, have a super bloodthirsty early game here. You know, Graves wants to farm up, build the CS lead on his opponent.
Well, that's
red
the
and
murder
white guns. Yeah,
that is the murder
gun. Oh my god!
Hill comes down! You got the Lulu in your pocket, you got the full-on chakrams. MC's gonna get chased onto by Haru as Nukes gets bot back. Here comes Temp over the wall. Hasn't got the Shadow Surge available, but can flash, can fear, can lock Nukes down as Haru will secure the kill.
Where did Faithcon go? to the Aphelios, red and white. Absolutely absurd in that scenario. We'll get a replay of it. Switches out of the Flamethrower, and it's just all of these stats. Chakrams got so many. What is that, 12 almost? It has to be. As the rotation comes in from Haru and from Tempt. And yeah, double fear just means a little bit too much CC, unfortunately, for Nukes to actually survive. Drops to the rotation of X7, and that's 2 kills. Slowing down this Jinx lane. It feels like when we've had Jinx in the games so far today in the NLC, they've not really been, you know, forward. They've not really been thrown off path too much. In fact, quite the opposite. They've been fed gold, resources. This time around, X7 doing a pretty good job right now of shutting this lane down just a little bit. So it was starting to creep away from them in terms of the CS department. Gap has closed a little bit, only really a wave between the 2 AD carries now.
All Temps needs to be a little careful. Has got that fear the personal space shield will come through. But Temp still takes a pretty horrid trade there. Slowkey Diz has had to burn a fair amount of mana and hasn't actually got that lost chapter, so no real regen available right now as MC. Gonna be looking to start up this Rift Herald. Maybe trying to find some plates, trying to accelerate some gold for the side of Riddle after those 2 kills were picked up by X7 in the bot lane. And Jaeger making his way over to make sure that MC doesn't pick this one up free of charge. Haru's almost done with the red buff, so we'll be able to come over. And Jaeger just getting bopped. Getting crab slapped.
Just gonna make the Herald reset. I think MC actually, as stubborn as he is, has gone back to it. I think he started out again. Does have priority from the mid lane. However, doesn't have priority from top. No, he's doing Skull Crab. Never mind, I take it back. So now maybe it's Haru's attempt taking it, and I think because of the pathing there, wasn't actually spotted out on the vision. Of course, if you hug that top left wall,
is now.
Yeah, I think he was eventually spotted.
The eyes appeared over the model, so it definitely was spotted out there. Yeah. But I don't think they really want to do this. Jaeger's got a pretty large wave shoving in to Kex. Kex having the Searing Charge away to safety, and Jaeger now will just be able to roam over, although actually he wants to try and greed for the tower. I saw Haru smited that, yes, so he's able to walk away with that, and no real contest. X7 pick up the objective, and I can't see actually on my screen what kind of Drake that is. I think it's a Cloud.
Oh,
maybe
that means that it's Hex Tech or Chemfog. Looking at the minimap, because it's a little bit blurred, it's Hex Tech. So.
Yes, it is. Jaeger might just find Kex here. He's got the needlework, not going to be able to connect the last of the damage. We'll see in a minute when the thing goes over. I think you are right. It probably is Hex Tech.
I'm pretty sure it's Hex Tech. See, our Observer's got our back. It's Hex Tech.
There we go.
There you go. Thank you, Observer. We appreciate you. So, Herald in Haru's back pocket. Plenty of options, really. I don't feel like there's a terrible option across the board. Obviously, there's maybe more, ways to use the Herald, like putting it into Aphelios' back pocket, which seems to be Haru's choice of placement after he thinks about maybe mopping up Kex underneath this tier 2 top lane almost. And there you go, tower, 3 plates. Expect the Herald to go down at about 2.5. And this should just be a full tower if they want it. In fact, if they read the map properly, realize that Riddle were fully yielding, they could have maybe even saved the Herald for a little bit longer, but tempo dropping this Herald means that they will get the tower now, cash out on one more wave, and maybe look elsewhere for a fast reset potentially, or even maybe a second tower, because it's only Kex up here with no Ornhorn. So
yeah, you're correct.
Now and Haru could very easily, in my opinion, probably take this, though maybe they just feel otherwise about Kex's potential return damage. I don't feel like it's going to be the case though. Kex does enough.
Dodge. Oh my word.
Kex does enough.
Quite a lot of damage on that.
Yeah.
Has got the Gale Force, so he'll be fine.
Yeah, so there you go. Herald used. Pretty strong usage there. 2,500 gold, almost 3,000 actually, I beg your pardon, in favor of X7. And I think meeting expectations so far, to be honest with you, from the X7 side of things. Yeah, there's not been, a killer minute or anything crazy like that. But certainly feels like when Riddle go for a play, they're very quick to shut it down. Not only that, make their own play. It's been so far the key factor, X7, whether it was the bottom side dive, whether it was denying that Herald and taking it for themselves. It was like they are reading whatever Riddle are looking to do and then actually doing it for themselves.
Alrighty, well. It's like, for now, just going to take a little bit of a light break off the pressure. Dragon not up for a little while yet. Only just gone down. You see the items that are coming through. Obviously, I noted the Gale Force was finished up for Natha, but it has also been finished up for MC. Tempt, still a little bit of ways off whatever item that lost chapter will be becoming. There's still a fair few options open to Tempt right now. Tara's just stealing away a few camps, building towards the Divine Sunderer. The items will start to come in soon, and we'll start to see some of these champions hit some spikes. The Slowkey is consistently starting to get poked out by these Mistral Bolts, and just chunking away Slowkey a little bit more and more every time as they're actually bringing everybody down. And with that Shadow Surge available, Temps might just be able to find a big fear here. Keep your eyes on this, because there they go. Ultimate's thrown down, the Shadow Surge, big fear from the purple space. The Wild Growth to keep them alive. They found themselves too. Kex is coming in with the Ornhorn, but the Polymorph will stop him. Haru charges over the wall to safety, dodges away on the collateral damage. Look at my horse. My horse is amazing. And Haru, you could have gone up, but you went down. And I think that might be the end of days. Will fall to the tower, and it was an execute.
Yeah. Wow. Enough time bought. I mean, yeah, just about makes sense. I think that was any sooner, and he would have probably actually given the kill credit over to MC. I mean, X7, clean as you like, really. Another rotation down from Temp towards his mid lane as Jaeger actually maybe in trouble. Has the Ignite, has the ultimate. MC.
Only really got the Leeching Leer, so hasn't quite got the damage right yet. As Neville need to work for the slow, but in comes the rocket. Dunked by Faithcan.
Yeah, and honestly, that's the kind of pick or kill that Riddle need, especially because it goes on to Faithcan. Well, Faithcan, just getting that little bit of gold injection, really much needed for the Riddle side. Jinx will be a core component of this competition later on into the game, being the hyper carry that she is. Especially after X7 have absolutely battered the bottom side with 2 dives, which were more than successful. Some brilliant execution. Much needed gold. So what's the move now for Riddle? I think it's sort of difficult because X7, they kind of should just have first move to any side of the map that they want. And for now, I feel like Riddle can't really contest a 5k gold deficit anywhere that they necessarily like. So I feel like they want to just put whoever they want to get resources into, whether it's Faithcun, whether it's Slow Q, on the opposite side of the map from where X7 are maybe looking to play, and just try and do the cross. Q. Oh, yeah, Temp's eyeing up.
He is. I think if no one else was around, Temp would have done that, but did get that personal space fear off onto Kex, and Kex is going to get denied getting any closer.
Yeah, I think, honestly, best call of action here for Riddle. You play for these cross maps. Yeah, that was a lot of damage. And you hope that the objective bounties come in and X7 commit heavily to whatever side of the map they're on. And you try and catch up in gold in that manner. Because I think right now, if you try and, butt heads one-to-one, life might be a little bit difficult. I think looking at the items, though, when you think about it holistically, despite the several thousand gold lead, everybody is practically at item parity. So Riddle for now, like for example, if they're in position to contest for this Herald, which they're not, a fight wouldn't be terrible, you'd imagine. But in around 5 minutes time at the same kind of gold deficit, maybe it would be. Riddle eyeing up the Dragon, but still 10 seconds left into this spawn, so X7 have the time to pick up this Herald and then also move bot. Or drop this Herald in the mid lane.
They just smash open this mid lane, to be honest.
Loads of options.
They can't really do too much about this.
No. And the issue is if they stay, they just get dove. Hikarim presses R key, Vex follows up. Lulu knocks everybody up with the ultimate. It's just too much CC.
There we go. Big Gravitum actually comes in from the Moonlight Vigil. There's the charge down. Fakecan run down. Nata finds the kill. Harry's able to break away from the terrorist. The second charge comes down. The tower will fall. Harry speeds away to safety as MC looks to chase him down, but the Wild Growth will pick him back up. Temp does a lot of damage to Kex. Has actually got the ultimate available. Can throw it out, but isn't feeling the 1v1. And it looks like X7 are just going to turn their attention towards this second dragon, the Mountain Drake. Are we going to roll a Chemtech Drake?
Come on, give it to us, I'm rubbing my hands together, give it to us.
Come on, man! What is this?
What does a guy have to do around here to get a Chemtech Dragon, huh? Rito gods, please.
I don't care. I just want one of the new ones. Anyway, fight. Look at that.
Yeah, fight, replay. Really tempered and really well played by X7, honestly. Holding the trigger, waiting for their moment, and then once that Gravito moment comes down, it's just immediate go. They remove Jinx, and then Haru, the ghost movement speed, able to speed out. Not a lot of hard CC on the side of Riddle, to be honest with you. It pretty much almost entirely comes out of Ornn. Obviously, you have the slow fill from Victor, but that's obviously under the caveat of you have to stand on it a little bit, and pretty much the same thing for Karma Temper. So there's no immediate hard CC to dodge. Haru walks out for free.
Yeah.
And with this Infernal Rift, it's one of the few times I feel like a Rift will make a... Well, once we start to get some Chemtech Dragons, there'll certainly be Rift differences here, but with the Infernal Rift, with just a slightly more opened up map, X7 are just going to get to places, 3, 4, 5 seconds quicker when it comes to rotating to the side lanes. And that's going to be a pain in the backside for Riddle to actually have to deal with when it comes to trying to sort of deal with this potential 1-3-1, 1-4 now that the map is opened up. And you can see Slow Q just doesn't really have a safe place to farm. So he's got to just kind of sit there, twiddle his farms. Now, you can see X7, freedom of movement across the map, almost find the pick onto Kex. And they can even try and chip away at this bottom side tower now.
Yeah, they're still going to be able to do that so as well, though the wave does get cleared out. Nata has the murder guns, though, so that's going to be scary.
Yeah.
Almost got that collector finished up as well for Nata, so it's going to get even scarier. As we'll have to hold that because the fight's looking to break out. Kex takes a whole lot of damage. Intent with the ultimate ready to go down. Watch out for that Shadow Surge. Decides not to do it. Just can get a little bit of a fear off for the moment. And actually, something we haven't hit on is the mid lane's items. They've both got the new AP item, the Crown of the Shattered Queen. It gives you a little bit of safety, basically. It's damage reduction.
No, just
movement speed and AP is this mythic passive, which is kind of crazy.
Yeah, no, that seems fine for game health and balance. I mean, to be fair, I was very, very critical of this item just because of the intended use case. However, I don't feel like it's landed too horribly. I feel like, in theory, it seems like a super oppressive item, and it definitely still can be. Like, for example, if you thought about it like in this game, for example, if there was a slightly longer ranged mage from Riddle, like who actually pops it like the crown? You pretty much just have to find what a Phelios Q's when he's got Calibrum out. So
yeah, I think so. You take less damage.
Yes.
From the first hit, and then for 1.5 seconds, you take 70% reduced damage, and it's on a 40 or 45-second cooldown, I believe.
Yes.
Yes. And it's got a really effective field path. It's Lost Chapter, Kindle Gem, and Amptome, I believe. So it's a very cheap item to kind of reset at bad times and at least be able to pick something up towards it.
Yeah, exactly. So, an item that I'm sure we'll see a lot more of throughout the split. I think there's a lot of champions that can definitely use it.
Yeah,
it's definitely a game where we could have its strength showcased.
I personally don't have a problem with the item. I don't like the Kassadin build that we saw pop up with it. The one where he goes, is it Everwinter? I can't remember what the item's called. But the tier tank item where he slows you with his W and he gets a massive shield. You're like, oh great, he's immortal. That's it, Winter's Approach. Winter's Approach plus Crown on Kassadin is genuinely the most poo experience ever. It's awful.
Yeah, no, it doesn't sound too fun. I'm yet to run into it, so I'll happily continue to run into it.
It's so unfun. You're like, oh cool, Kassadin's got 2 items and he's literally a tank. Nata, Gale Forces, flashes, dodges, jumps away, but he is not going to be able to dodge all that. Duck, dip, dives, and dies.
Yeah, and I mean, I'm not going to lie, if I'm X7, I'm trying to bring... I mean, if I'm Riddle, I beg your pardon, I'm trying to run to Baron right now and bring X7 into me. I guess they also have Jaeger to deal with in the top side, but this just feels like a pick for pick's sake. Because now, with this reset, I mean, sure, now we'll still show up to this dragon sort of late, but there's enough time that, even if Riddle were looking to contest this dragon, which by the looks of the minimap, they could be, it's only going to take now, what, 15, 20 seconds to get here?
Yeah.
And it's a very short window that Riddle are going to be able to work with here, which I just don't feel like they're going to get anything else out of it. The only real benefit now is that Nata no longer has flash.
We'll have that Gale Force coming up somewhat soon. Looks like everybody from the side of X7's moved over. Jaeger actually now got that Riftmaker and the Nashers too. He's pretty strong on the Gwen right now. Got a pretty big CS lead over their lane opponent. It's not really able to do too much. Just be Dragon over 2 for X7. Looks like they're just going to go back to business. It's been relatively slow paced, but it feels faster than the last game was at this point in the game. They're doing stuff. They're being active. It's quite hard to kill anybody when there's a Karma or a Lulu on either side.
Yeah, it is very difficult. And also, I feel like if we're talking about, the top 3 teams in the league, or the expected top 3 teams in the league, right? X7, XL, and then, of course, Estrada. So far, seeing 2 out of 3 of the teams, they've been playing very, very, these slow, methodical games where they're not really willing to give the other team many opportunities to actually, find picks or find, side lane dives or whatever it be. They've been very, very much a low risk, high reward play style so far. And it's definitely benefiting them quite heavily. 5k gold up, almost 6k. Does make for a slightly resident sleeper viewing experience, but hey, it's winning them the game right now. You certainly can't complain about that at all. Riddle, I feel like it's such a difficult position to be in. You can only really fish for picks with the on-horn.
Yeah.
Like you did on Nata in the mid lane. But then once you actually find a pick, like they did a couple of minutes ago, you have to pull something away from it. You can't just get the pick and be happy with it. You have to get the pick and then also at least, try and find a tower, try and find a dragon, find some jungle camps, anything. Set down some vision that, X7 now have to clear out again. Make X7 have to work for something if you do find these picks. Because otherwise you're just kind of sitting here slow bleeding.
And the question is where do they find those opportunities? Where do they find those little things? Because the bleeding isn't stopping and X7 are looking to turn their attention towards that Baron. Decide the better of it, decide to move away, decide maybe we won't fight this one, but they might just be looking for the fight because there they go in day 1.
Whoa.
Find themselves a kill. Fakehan will just go down. Beautiful fear. The reset from 10 didn't quite hit, and now MC is going to get feared up himself. There's too much fear. X7 are a frightening team right now.
Yeah, X7 take their moment. Jaeger should be fine. We'll have another dash soon. I'm not sure there's quite enough damage, and plus that one missed. We'll keep Jaeger up. I mean, Call of the Forge Squad, audacious, they really want Jaeger, don't they? But what else can they look for when they know they're losing Baron, they know they're losing stuff on the top side? This game should go a whole lot harder off that mid lane pick. Seven do a great job of finding it.
Nata got the perfect answer Baron as well. Red, white.
Yeah, it's
absolutely shred through this.
You just can't walk in. Yeah, you can't walk in. They shred the Baron quickly. If you walk in, Nata just turns around and murders you. We'll get the pick here. Sped up by the Lulu. Nice ultimate from Tempt as well, and it just sets up for Haru to just absolutely run Faithcan over. MC does actually dodge out on the Vex ultimate, but unfortunately can't quite dodge out on the Hecarim one. Gets collapsed on, dies as well. And now Riddle, I mean, it just feels like a very, very hard position to really, you know, be honest and say, okay, I think Riddle can come back to this if they do this, this, and this. They kind of just have to sit here, pray X7 don't execute, as well as they have been for the last 25 minutes, and try and get to those IM spikes. They have, you know, decent wave clear tools between the Victor, between the Graves, Jinx, I suppose, from Rockets. Yeah, sure, if I'm being super optimistic. But X7, they've been no strangers to just pulling the trigger on these dives underneath these towers, and with Baron, I don't expect that tempo to slow down.
Neither do I. 26 minutes in, and now with the Baron, the sieging up. Here comes the Call of the Forge God onto the flank here. X7 not going to get caught out, and there's the fear in personal space. Moonlight Vigil thrown down. It is a cluster right now, and Tempt still can go in once again. Actually has missed out on the reset for the moment. And both health bars of both teams are a little lower than maybe they would like to be. Slokey doing a good job of finding a bunch of damage from that Death Ray. And X7 are just going to have to back off for now.
Yeah, we'll back off for now. Don't find anything crazy outside of the pick onto Faithcon, but they've been bullying him all game. So at this point, you know, we're kind of used to it. To try and crack open this base. Baron still has a fair amount of time left on its duration, but you imagine some of that may be used in taking down the dragon. We'll have to see as, yeah, unfortunately, Faithcan on the Jinx. Not having a fun one into this pretty full dive heavy composition between the Hecarim and the Vex. It's just too much CC and downtown damage coming from Nata too. Which makes it very, very unfun to play for the Riddle Lady carry on his debut here. As X7 should be picking up this third dragon too. So one away from Soul, not that they really need it, it feels like in this game state at all. 10,000 gold lead. Riddle, it just feels like hope and a prayer. And you believe that X7 maybe makes some kind of error on a dive, because I mean, there is a lot of return damage that can come out from a Graves, from a Victor. You know, stuff does look doom and gloom right now, but all it takes is one slip up, one break in tempo, and then all of a sudden maybe you can get yourself back into it. But it will be a mountain to climb.
It's going to be a very hard one for them to do so. They got the Baron as well. Jaeger's using to shove in on the top side. The rest of the team shoving in through the mid, through the bot. Sing's actually just grabbing the midway for the team as Kex coming in with that Call of the Forge God. Does find himself a knock up onto Haru, but there's a blast cove in to buy a bit of space, but the Tempt is going to connect, and Haru able to survive. Ultimate goes wide by Tempt, and Kex will lose his life. Haru being cooked, though, in the meanwhile. The Moonlight Vigil also going a little bit short. Haru able to zoom away as Jaeger launches into the middle of free, trying to find the kill onto Slowq. Snip, 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 not quite hitting. The fear is going to go wide. The collateral damage doesn't quite connect either, and Jaeger able to jump away to safety. X7 are now on to the inhibitors. It will fall down in the bot side. They may just look to collapse here on the top in the mid as well. As Haru's grabbed the waves, going to shove it in, and X7 are going to take their second inhibitor tower. Let's see if they stick around to try and close out onto this second inhib themselves. Slowq's back to full health, and that might just be enough to scare them off as he's thrown down the gravity field, and X7 just going to look to walk away.
Yeah, I mean, patience, right? I think for X7, they know that this inhibitor is realistically a bit of a given the game state they're in. They can just go reset, spend whatever gold they have, come back, play out the same scenario with more items, bigger advantage. Nata.
Oh, hello. Oh, no, MC. Great blind. That blind might just be enough. Oh, dodging away on Tempt's ultimate. MC playing with fire as Nata just Gale forces forwards. Now he might be in trouble. He's been slowed down by the Brittle. They're trying to keep him alive. Nata gets healed up, but here comes Haru on the flank. Look at the damage from the charge. Nata finds a double kill. The steering charge forward by Kex, but it's not going to be able to do too much because Nata has the Lulu in his pocket, and Slow Q is being slowly cut down as he's boxed into Jaeger's waiting hands. Nata finds the third, and it is only MC who remains. X7. I think they're done praying. I think this might just be the end of the game for Riddle as MC boxed into the wall by Haru, and Haru looking to run him down. Not going to be able to finish up the kill, but they might just be able to finish up the towers. They've got the wave to work with. Riddle unable to do much of anything in this game as X7 are dominating.
Completely routed.